Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. I'm going to keep this as brief as possible. Not to say it's going to be a brief video, but I'm not going to go out of my way to make it any longer than it has to be, because it's freaking cold. Lots of the country is a lot colder than this, but it's noon and I'm sitting at 34 degrees or 33, whatever it's bouncing at. And I don't like it. I'd rather be in the house listing parts or something next to the fire. So, today's topic specifically is going to be building a chain for this bar to put on what saw? The 655. I'm at a point in my collection career, that sounds kind of weird, in my collecting, that I can afford to be picky about some of these things, and when I see the right thing come up for the right saw, you know what I mean? So I decided to splurge on this bad boy. And we're going to make the chain for it. I've got a roll of 3/8 63 gauge. I haven't test fit the groove here. Probably should have done that. What do you know? Nice and tight. So we're going to spin up a chain, and the technique that I use on that you could use for spinning up any chain. I'm going to show you a trick that I have. You guys may have seen it in the background on the bench and wondered what the hell it was. I'm going to explain that today, and yeah. I'm going to have to stop the video, reset the camera quite a few different times. There'll be a lot of stuff stitched together, but hopefully in the end that'll make sense. Okay, so when you get chain and you need to make, a loop, you can sit here and count them out the way I did when we wrapped a piece around the bar and I was trying to figure out what I needed. If you do this much at all, you can get an Oregon chain scale. Now I put it on the bench and put some cheap plexi over the top of it, which I have broken, and it's not perfect, but it's not all torn up after over a year of being there. So how does it work? Well, the instructions are in there. I'm not going to go through all of that. If you buy one, you'll get instructions, or at least you should. The secret is making sure that you put some nails in at the appropriate distance between the edge of the sticker and over there. That's what's going to give you an accurate measurement. Now, you might note what happened there. Well, that's a good question, because I was accurate on my measurement, but what I didn't take into account was the height of this diamond plate that I was stretching over for the chain grinder there. So it made everything about 1/3 of a tooth off, which I always had to go, gee, is it too many, too little? So at least for that one, I fixed that. So what we're going to do is take this end, slip it over there, and on the scale for 3/8, we're going to come out as far as we can. Now, we're only going to get to 98, and I need 110. So, let me get the camera set up, and I will show you how I plan to deal with that. Okay, we got it stretched out. Along we go. You want it to be relatively straight on there. You can see it's actually lining up on the drawn-in drive links pretty well. So we get out here to 98, and we know that we're going to need 12 more links than that. Now we could do something silly like hold this, stretch it across there to another 12. I'm just going to mark this with a Sharpie, and I'll count out the 12 past that. Like I say, this stuff has a way of disappearing, so make your mark something that you actually are going to see. And remember what it's for. Okay, so then all we need to do, without dropping this, is just spool out a little bit more chain. And then we'll really mark what we're doing. So there's that drive link. We're at 98, 99, 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, of course, we're at a point where the cutter's on the other side of the way I've got it laid out. So I'm going to make this mark, and I'm knowing I want to keep that drive link. I want that one. So what I'll have to do is get this all put away, or get that pen out of my way, get this off the bench, flip it over, and then I will mark this actual cutter. No, I won't. Use your brain. I'll mark this tie strap, because that's where I want to break it at. You want to be careful. If you mark a cutter that you mark the drive link that you want to save, make sure that you break it on the right side of your loop. Otherwise, you're going to end up one link short. That wouldn't be so good. So, let me get all this stuff corralled, and when we reconvene, we'll be over there at the braking tool. Okay, so we've changed locations. You'll see that I've wadded up as carefully as I could the chain that I want to keep. We have the reel sitting right over here, so if you're thinking about a layout for your bench, this is tight. This is too tight, but it gets me by, and it leaves me enough space to work over there. But ideally, you want your breaker to be somewhere close to where you can set your reel of chain so you can get a nice flat lay like this. Because if it's all tweaked and torqued at a weird angle, trying to pop those rivets out, that's not going to go well at all. Because what you want to do is get everything cinched in this little vise, just a little thumb screw vise. Get everything in there, this groove on top. If you're braking at a cutter, it holds the edge of the cutter so that you're not damaging it. You see that cutter there? I'll reuse that one of these days when I break it at the right spot that I need that proper cutter. This time we're breaking it right at a tie strap. No big deal. So let me see. I have literally nowhere that I can put that camera that I think will give you guys a good view of this. But you can see what I did there. So what I'm clamping on is the bottom half of the tie strap. Okay. So we're ready to make our first break, but I've got the chain too tight. I can't actually get it over there. So I'm going to rotate the box. Get it centered up underneath. Alright, I don't normally do this one-handed, but let's give it a shot. Oh man, didn't go right. I knew that was a bad idea. A really bad idea. Come on, you. Come on. Alright, I'm going to try that again, but I'm going to do two hands. There we go. That's what you want to hear. And there she goes. So what you end up with, the old, I'm assuming you guys can see that, yeah. Some people swear they can reuse these. I'd have to be pretty hard up to try. Generally, this type of tool is doing enough damage. I don't think there's enough there to respin. Well, that's why most of my pieces go straight into the trash can. Now, part of why you want to get as straight a punch as possible without torquing anything is you can bend drive links. Now that one, other than some burring, you see that burring right there? Right there. That's where it slipped before because I didn't have it quite perfectly aligned. I don't think it's bent. So we're okay there. Same thing on that one. We'll be fine. So I've got enough left on that reel. I bought a 25-foot reel. I could probably do 2 more chains like that. And since I still have a few of these Poulan Pros to collect, that's conceivable. So, with a reel of chain, if you're buying from any reputable, you're going to get tie straps and those link presets. So that's real easy. But I want to check the fit on the bar and make sure that it's going to be what I think it's going to be. If we ended up a link short there, I'd rather spin a link back into it now than figure it out after I've wasted one of those and end up wasting more than one. So let's check the bar. Okay, so at this point what I'll do is just take this chain and untangle it from my little impromptu wrap job there. And let's wrap it around the bar and see if our, and this is easier done if you suspend it, just like this. Start at the tip. You can fight the way I was about to and start cussing, or you can be smarter than the average dipstick. So I'm going to squeeze it into the groove about 2/3 of the way down, and then I'll set it back on the bench. And we'll see if we like what we see. Squeeze that in, squeeze that in. Yeah, that paint's going to get blown out of there the first time we run this. Okay. How many drive links do we have? Out and visible. If I connect that, like I intend to connect that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is a tough one. I could be one off, but this is loose enough right here. I think I'm okay. I think I'm going to give it a shot. Because there's definitely some slack in there that's not taken out. And I'm only running a 7-pin sprocket. It's going to be damned close, though. It's going to be really close. Okay. So out of this little packet of goodies, all we need to do is get a preset. There's the tie strap. Just double check the fit. Yep, good and tight. So these things, obviously you got to match them up to the gauge of chain that you're using. A 63 gauge is going to have a little more rivet distance in the center there than a 50 gauge. So if you use a 50 strap, you're going to pinch the crap out of this. And if you mixed a 63 in when you were doing a 50 chain, it's going to be a little bit loose and it's going to wear a lot quicker because it's got all that slop to start moving around. So if you've got multiple gauges and pitches of chain, I highly recommend you either have bins for all these things or you label the heck out of them with permanent ink that's not going to fade away. And some of it will. Alright, I'll get the camera reset over here to spin. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. Okay. Boy, that's tight. This is a very technical solution to aim that camera, called a 2x4, my shears, and hoping and praying that gravity doesn't take over. Alright, so we're going to end up with two cutters going on the same side. Whatever, it is what it is. So with these you have the vise portion and then what I believe is called the anvil portion. Now if you do, again, multiple sizes of chain, you're going to need multiple anvils, or like I did, just get a second spinner, and I keep the anvil for the 1/4 inch, 325 and 3/8 low profile in one, and then the one I use for 404 and 3/8 standard in this one. So you back the vise portion off, and I've just barely tightened that. Now, I didn't space this off the bench quite perfectly. There's a little sideways twist to it here. And that creates problems because it won't hold that tie strap, or that strap won't stay put. So I've got to kind of drape the chain here to make it work. If you're setting one of these up, you want the chain to hang freely without hitting the side of the bench. I screwed up by about 3/16 of an inch or so. Could I remount it? Yes. Have I? No. Should I? Yes. We won't go there. So I like to put a little oil in here. I believe Oregon's spinning instructions indicate do the same. And I always start, because this side is a pain in my ass, I start with this side. Now, I think it was the chainsaw guy well over a decade ago showed a video of this, and I think he cut his handle off and uses a drill. But the point that he was making is tighten a little and spin a lot. Well, that's what I do. I generally, on one of these, I get going to a good clip, and then I bring this almost a full 360, and that's about what it takes. But I already have problems because this will not stay in place. It's being a pain in my ass. And therefore, we'll do it however ends up working. I may have to stop a couple times, which is not ideal. Alright. That's almost 360. Not quite. I'll show you guys the finished product when I get done. I don't want to unmount this. So the reason I leave it a little loose and spin it is to center it. Alright. And that one. Oh. Okay, the burr has got me. There it goes. Okay. I hope I'm in the view. That's what we just spun. That's generally what it ends up looking like. If you do it right, you almost can't tell that it's not factory. You got to really be looking for it. Alright, let's find out if it fits. Okay, there's no way I will get a bar this long into the full shot. I'm trying to remember. I think this was advertised, yeah, 32-inch bar. Which this saw has more than enough power. With the chain on there, it is, well, hell, even with just the bar, it won't stand upright anymore. Hanging it where I have it hung in the collection is going to be difficult too. Alright, so with these full wrap handles, you got to do kind of a chain dance. Get it around that drum, and then fish it through, ideally without tearing up the rubber on the handle. Okay, trying to index that in the sprocket as much as possible, because I know this is going to be tight. At least I sure think it's going to be. But I also think we got it made in the shade, folks. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That just slipped right over the tip of the bar. I don't know if I can turn you guys. Oh! There. Nope. Still. Damn. A long bar. There's a "that's what she said" joke in there somewhere. Good Lord. There it is. See that? It just slips on just like that. I've got the bar slammed back against the sprocket rim, and then I pull it out, and that's giving us about a 1/4 of an inch clearance between the bar tail and this. So now, let me try repositioning that camera one more time. We'll get the chain brake back on. While I was setting up a different shot, the clamp for the tilt control broke. Thank you, China and Amazon. Although I guess I've had that tripod for quite some time. I can't complain too much. But before I do much more out here, I'm going to have to get a new one. because this is, if I breathe on that thing the wrong way, you guys are going to go whoop. Okay. Let's see if I can sneak this back. Oh, yeah. Now, I should roll that adjuster back closer to where I think it's going to be. I was running a used chain, a good one though, and one of my home light bars on this previously. I should say it was an Oregon bar that set up for home light. Now you can look down here and see the adjuster hole. This ought to slip right on. Oh, man, I love it when a plan comes together. That's nice. That's really nice. I'll have to take this thing back out in the spring. I've got enough big fir up there to cut down this year. We're up to 3 good sized trees. And look you. Still move? Yes. Alright, let's get you tensioned. A lot of tricks out there for getting the right tension. But you got a new chain. It's probably going to have to be retension not long after you run it. But what we'll do is we'll get this tight against the bottom of the rail. Oh, that paint's fighting me. Okay. Yeah. Alright. The only reason I wasn't wearing these for the rivet spinning was because it's very difficult to adjust that rivet as it is, let alone wearing gloves. Okay. Let's see if I can get this to spin over. Yeah, that paint in the groove is going to be a pain. The whole point of this is just to make sure it's indexed into the sprocket properly. And after that many passes, it is indexed into the sprocket properly. Now, I think most of the manuals tell you to lift the bar tip as you're tightening this down. I actually like the method that Buchan uses, which is just let the power head do the work. Just lift up on the rear handle a little bit, and that'll force the tip of the bar down and make your adjustment there. I say I don't think that's good yet. I think I'm going to have to burn the paint out of the groove and then retension it. But that's okay. I'm not opposed to that. Okay. Oh, that's pretty badass. I like that a lot. Now, did I leave any fuel in this? Nope. Bone dry. Alright. As much as I would want to fuel this up and run it, it's been set up for storage. I don't know when in the spring I will get to it. We'll just settle for the beauty shot. Yeah, we'll just settle for the beauty shot. See if I can block that. Man, this is fun. When you have this disease of collecting chainsaws and you score something like this, a saw alone is just freaking awesome, but then to find an actual correct bar to go on it, how do you get any better than that, folks? Okay, that's enough of me jibber jabbering. Hopefully the chain stuff I went through over here is of some use to you. If nothing else, like I say, if you're laying out one of these, learn from my mistakes. Even this one I've got set way too far back. I need to set these forward so that the chain is dangling off of these. You know, not up here, because then you've got to run it out. If you've got sideways pressure on it trying to get those tie straps to stay flat in there as you're spinning them is not fun. So anyway, we'll catch you guys on the next video.